Go fuck yourself, San Diego.
Nice fucking model!
I'm here to fucking lose you.
Go fuck yourself.
What the fuck?
Fuck you!
Fuckity fuck fuck you!
Every great movie has an edge. This is Movie F-Words, where we unpack all the language, the mayhem, and the moments that define swearing in cinema.
What happens when two regular guys clock in for a perfectly normal shift and clock out as accidental criminals in one of the most sweary, chaotic days in movie history? Welcome back to Movie F-Words, the podcast where we count every curse, call out every fake out, and celebrate the absolute poetry of cinematic profanity. Today we're diving into One Day Removals, a dark Scottish comedy about two removal men whose boring day goes violently, hilariously off the rails. Like, really off the rails. With me today is the director himself, Mr. Mark Sturton. So, this is the kind of movie where the swearing isn't just background noise. It's basically a main character. And trust us, there's a lot of it. So buckle up, grab your tally sheets, and prepare for one bloody thing after another, because this episode might just break our profanity counter. All right, so glad to have you here on the show with me today. Just to get into it, I gotta ask, did any of this happen to you personally? Is that why it's in the movie? Or
I did work in a van, but I didn't kill anyone.
no killing anyone? Okay, so none of that. No accidental killings either.
Afraid not. No.
Okay, so that's not. So it's not a biography.
Semi-autobiographical. You know, I did work in a van. I did think about killing people, but I didn't actually do it.
Yeah, it's. I understand. It made sense. How much of that language is actually based on people who talk in that kind of environment?
It's very accurate. In the northeast of Scotland, it's a very blue collar way of speaking, which you don't see on film very often, and you don't see Aberdeen on film very often. But it's very accurate. That's pretty much how Patrick and Scotty talk a lot of the time.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's great. That sounds like something I'd enjoy sitting on and like a fly on the wall listening to. So those weren't like on purpose. That was just them having scripted conversation kind of thing.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, both Patrick and Scotty, they did improvise a certain amount. So we had the screenplay, but I was fairly loose about it, and they brought a lot of themselves to the parts.
Awesome. So, do you ever think that maybe the language was like overpowering the story, or if it was just...
It was a concern, right? Mm-hmm. Now, we didn't set out to make the sweariest movie that had ever existed. That wasn't the plan.
Right.
I wrote a bunch of profanity in the screenplay, and Patrick and Scotty added their own. In fact, it's really their fault. I'm not to blame. Right? But the intention was never to be that sweary on purpose just for the sake of it. That just happens to be how certain Scottish people talk. So it was really a case of just not censoring ourselves. We didn't soften it. We didn't try and soften it for anyone.
That's good. Did you win any? Did you get any awards for the swearing? Because I know it's always like within like top 5, list of. Because it's on my top 49. I think in like top 5. And
I think in the top 10 sweariest movies of all time. So at the time, we did get a certain amount of publicity, newspapers and things, because Scottish papers love that. Sweariest movie ever is Scottish. They love that. So it was a nice bonus, but it still had. You can't just make a film and fucking blind all the way through. It's still going to have the comedy. It's still going to have the performances. So it did upset the BBC because there was like most of the swearing they accepted, but at a certain point the guys call God a cunt, right?
Right.
They didn't like that.
So that's where they draw the line?
That's where they draw the line. You can't call God a cunt. Well, I can. but they can't.
Right. Oh, okay. Well, that's not. I mean, I didn't know there was a line in the sand that they said, well, the fucks are fine, but you can't be insulting God.
Even the cunts, I think there's like 19 cunts in the film, which is quite a lot. I think there's 450 fucks. And like I said, most of it they didn't mind. But the minute you put God in a sentence, and I knew when I was writing it, I thought, I'm asking for trouble here. And I did get a certain amount of trouble.
Well, that's all right. That's good trouble. No such thing as bad publicity, So it all worked out in the end. So do you have a swear jar, and how full is it?
I'd have to have a swear bucket, A
bucket?
So, I mean, do I swear as much as the film? I suppose I do, but I can. I think, here's the thing, right? I sometimes don't get invited on certain posher shows, right? Because I think they think I'm going to be fucking and blinding all over the place. But I can modify it. I can be relatively posh if I need to be.
Right.
The problem with the film is I've become very well known for that one film. So everyone tends to think I'm just like the film. And I'm not really.
I could see that. People would think, oh, he wrote all these fucks in there, and he's just going to come on here and fuck this and fuck that. And it's
exactly
like, well, no, that's not how I am. That's just, how the movie is. And
exactly.
It's kind of like stage performance.
I made a sci-fi film, right? But I've never been to space. It's just being creative.
Yeah, they're not going to, it's not that way all the time, full tilt. Do you ever think when you were making it that the audiences outside of Scotland, like here in the States, might struggle with the accents and the language? Or
the States, people struggle with the accent outside of Aberdeen, because Aberdeen in the northeast of Scotland is a very particular type of accent. So even when the film went to Glasgow and Edinburgh, they had a certain amount of problem with it. One of the reasons why it's become quite a cult film in Aberdeen is because in many ways we're the only people who can really understand it.
Yeah, I was able to follow along. I didn't
there you go.
Much trouble with it. So I could see someone having some issues with some of the dialect, and like I need the subtitles on, but I was able to follow along. So I don't know. I don't know how other people.
Maybe it's just a perception that it's very broad, and people can kind of handle it. I kind of equate it, oddly, to Shakespeare. The first time you watch Shakespeare, it's very difficult to understand, but 10, 20 minutes in, you kind of adapt to the language,
Right. Well, you had that warning at the beginning, the Doric warning, and, this is the language of the film that you're going to see. And
well, if you watch the film now, the opening 15 minutes are quite slow, and that was quite deliberate to try and just ease the audience into the dialogue, because once the bodies start dropping, they talk very fast. So I kind of tried to ease them into it.
I liked the use of music the whole time.
Thank you.
Because it, kept that tension going, even through him talking in the police interrogation.
Oh yes.
It carried you through like to the next scene, knowing, all right, we're not done. We're going to keep going. So, there was like no break, which was a fun way of getting through the movie. There was like this and this and this, and and it was nice pacing the way it went through everything like that. So it was great. Did you ever have someone say the swearing took them out of the film? Like, there's too much in here, I don't like it? Or
I had a couple of complaints. Yeah, occasionally I'll get an email from someone saying I quite like the idea, but oh my God, the swearing was too much for me. If that's the case, then I'm sorry, but most people can cope with it. You cope with it?
Yeah, I enjoy it. So it was great.
And where in America are you?
I am in Ohio.
Terrific.
The east, not the East Coast, but the Eastern time zone. So like right in the middle. I'm in between New York and Chicago, so we're that like break in between. So
Excellent.
we get a lot of travelers coming through here, going one way or the other, the big cities. So
Okay.
they don't really stop here; they just kind of go through. But they're a little. It's not rural, but people think Ohio is rural, despite the fact that we're like number 4 in the most populated state. So
Okay.
we got plenty of people here, and there is plenty of farmland. We got a lot of space for both. So, it fits in for everybody. How would you like to do
I should come there and remake the film.
Well, you were going to do you posted a few weeks back a sequel potential, right?
Potentially, yeah. I mean, there's a couple of problems with the sequel. Firstly, like I said, the film is very popular here, so I don't want to be the guy who just shoves out a shit sequel, because we all know sequels usually suck, right? So try and get the right idea. And also, like I said, Patrick and Scotty were very important to the film, so I've got to get them on board as well. And we've all got to agree on the idea. So it's a bit like when they were trying to get all the Star Trek crew back together to make a film. Some weeks Patrick's Leonard Nimoy and he doesn't want to do it. Some weeks it's me. But if we can get a script, I'll consider it. But there's also the financial consideration as well. It's the original cost only £75,000, right? Which is nothing. That's hardly any money. But it's quite a lot to me. So I'd have to raise another 70, 80 grand to do it. So that could be tricky.
Yeah, I like movies that are, don't take it the wrong way, that are like, budget or cheap, because they do their best to make every scene work. They do their best to make everything, be awesome. As opposed to just saying, we'll just throw some money at it and we'll get this group of people to fix it later. And then it's like, it doesn't look that good. Like, for example, practical effects. I much prefer practical effects over CGI. Always. They always look better.
We actually, because we had no money, we actually had to drag a guy down the road. Tie him to the van, drag him down the road. Now, the guy did the stunt, Michael Clark, did a very good job. He was well padded and everything. But we couldn't afford to cheat that. There was no throwing money at any problem here.
And it looked good, because it was like there's a real person being dragged behind this van. It's not some fake $20,000 dummy that they rigged up to, it's a real person back there. And it's, that was entertaining. That was what I liked watching about it. Is it seemed, like some of it obviously is like obscure, but it seems like something that could actually happen. That's the kind of thing I like.
Many times, if it's a true story, and we did sort of think at the beginning we could put based on true events, but they wouldn't be. It would be a lie. But I think it's just plausible that some people think something like that might have happened.
Yeah, all of that I could see happening in some bizarre universe to these two guys, so those are also the kind of movies I like, where it's just about the point where you go, all right, this could actually happen. And it's what keeps me in it, because I think, what's next that could actually happen? They push the body out over the bridge, or the guy with the screwdriver in his head, that kind of thing. It's like, that kind of stuff could actually happen with the Rube Goldberg way of things falling down and knocking stuff over into people. It was great. So I thoroughly enjoyed watching it.
Yeah, we're back.
We're back.
Hey.
No problem. Let's see. Where was I? I don't remember.
You were telling me how brilliant my film was. And how much you'd like to see an American remake.
I don't know if we could do a remake. We've done enough remakes of, European films and TV shows, and very few of them actually work out. Like, we have The Office, we have Shameless, but pretty much everything else is just like some bastardized version of a great film that it's like, did you need to remake it? It was great how it was. We don't need to, take it to the next level.
Money.
Yeah, it's always about that.
It is.
So, but going back to the sequel, though, if you do have any kind of like, what is it, crowdfunding?
Yeah.
Kickstarter, that kind of thing, let me know, and I'll help plug it too, because I would love to see a sequel with these guys.
You see,
I don't even know what they would get into. I don't know if it would be 3 guys or who knows. I'd leave it up to you
the thing
as to what they would
do. It's
do.
been nearly 20 years since the first one, right? So theoretically, they could just be, eligible for parole. They might get out.
Yes.
And I think it'd be interesting to deal with their life, because still no one believes them. I don't think it would be a good idea just for them to kill a bunch of people accidentally again. That would be a bad idea, right? But it could go in a different direction. Just them dealing with the fact that they're these legendary killers that they're not. We'll see.
Yeah, they're just standard guys that this happened to. If you took all the swearing out of the movie, do you think it still works?
That's a really good question. No, I don't think it would. I think one of the things the swearing does is it says right from the start, this is an adult comedy, right? It's not for kids. It's not really for young people. It's for adults. So it's got a lot of adult fans precisely because of that. And the violence as well. When you've got the screwdriver in the head, that's not for kids. So I think it helps to maintain that tone of being an adult comedy. So probably it would lose something if I took all the swearing out.
I think it comes across as like an additional, because I think it's like an additional character, just like the music is in a movie. If you took all the music out of a movie, it would sound really strange.
Yeah.
If you took all the fucks out of this movie, it would sound really, I would wonder why these guys aren't swearing in the situation they're in. I would think, you know what? If you're on body number 3 and 4 and I haven't heard one fuck, I would have lost my mind at this point. Why is nobody swearing or actually speaking their mind? What is going on that you can't say something that is on your mind? It would sound awkward after a while.
I think what you're talking about is we kind of suck the color out of the film. It's a film with lots of color and character. And if I hadn't done the swearing, it might have been just a little bit bland, which I don't think it is. It's not a bland film.
No, it's entertaining. It's, even whether you had like 10 fucks or 1,000, it was still entertaining. But, it's been brought to attention because of the swearing. And, it's great. Even, I don't want to say despite it. I'm saying like it's great working alongside of it. It all works out.
Well, I think the Scottish dialogue, they almost use fuck like a comma, like punctuation. So it's kind of in the rhythm of how they talk. And if I'd said to Scotty, cut down the swearing 50%, he's going to be second guessing himself the whole time. And I didn't want it to be as natural as possible. So that's what we got.
Yeah, it worked out. It was great.
Thank you.
Would you like to do a short little lightning round?
Go for it.
I'll ask you some questions.
Go for it.
Whatever comes to mind. So, first swear word that comes to mind.
Cunt.
Who swears better, Andy or Ronnie?
Ronnie.
Was there ever a line that was too much even for the movie?
No.
How many F words landed before it stopped being shocking and started being poetry?
It was always poetry.
Always poetry. That's good. Doric dialect, used too much, perfect, or not enough?
Just enough.
Just enough. What's the most ridiculous situation in the film that somehow still feels real?
Well, here's the thing. When we were working in the van, we very nearly dragged someone to his death. That's why it's stuck in my head all those years. So I suppose if you're not paying attention with netting and ropes and stuff, you can fuck up quite badly.
Yeah. I think that actually does happen.
Yeah.
People get stuck on stuff hanging off of trucks and cars.
I've seen it in it's actually quite sad when it happens. And I've seen it in the news, and I thought, that's not a million miles away from what happened to us, except, of course, we play completely for laughs.
So what's the one scene you'd warn your mom about?
It wasn't so much my mum. It was my granny, right? And she was a bit wary of that sort of thing. But my mum, she coped with it. I mean, I'm her son, so she copes with me. So she can cope with my film. She's okay.
Okay, that's good. If you remade it today, would there be more swearing or just bigger consequences?
That's a good question. Maybe, if I was going to do it again, I'm second guessing myself, thinking, would I moderate it? Could I be more successful if I moderated it? But then it wouldn't be poetry. So I don't think I'd moderate it at all again. Just do it the way you want to do it.
Good,
I'm an independent filmmaker, and so many times they don't take that advantage. No one. I don't get studio notes. No one's telling me what to do, so I've got to be as free as I can. Otherwise, what's the fucking point?
Yeah, and it worked out in its best way. So, what's the One Day Removals is the kind of film you watch when?
I tell you, I'll be serious here. Right? One Day Removals is the kind of film you watch if you're a little bit depressed. Because a lot of people have got in touch with me saying, oh, I just lost my job and my dad died, and I put your film on and it perked me up. Right? And I really like that. So it can perk you up if you're a bit down.
That's good to know. I do enjoy watching it regardless of my mood. So, it's always an entertaining film to watch. Believe it or not, our paths very lightly crossed probably 15 so years ago.
Really?
Back when IMDb had a message board. I posted on the message board the number of fucks that were counted and, all the little statistics. And you replied and said, thanks. And I thought, oh, that's pretty awesome that the director chimed in on, something I put it, because I would have never thought that I would have gotten a response from you. But
yeah, I kind of.
I remember all these years later, I was like, he responded to me.
I kind of miss the IMD message boards because there's no interaction now. People just post reviews, so I tend not to look at it anymore. But back then, it was kind of fun. It was kind of fun talking to people.
Yeah, I loved it because I don't really watch the AAA movies, and I know those boards are always full of spam and stuff. And then IMDb said, we're not making money off this. Let's just get rid of it. But for a lot of the other movies I watched, the more independent movies, I could post something on there and get genuine responses and genuine conversations going. And it was great, and then I could post and get your response, for example, and strike up a conversation with you. I don't know where else I could necessarily. I mean, we have Twitter and Reddit in a way, but you got to kind of go around to try and find people. But it was great being able to get in contact with people. Like, for example, One Day Removals. It's like, I enjoy watching that movie, and it was great to get a hold of the director and sit down and talk with him about the film and, the fucks and the way things worked out and everything that was in it. So it was great having you on here. I really appreciate you taking the time to talk with me.
No problem.
I was wondering if I have an episode I wanted to do on British film versus, well, I should say English films versus American films, like cinema. I didn't know if you'd be interested in weighing in on that one day.
Do you mean English films or do you mean British films?
Like, I guess I would have to say United Kingdom films, UK films.
Yeah, UK films.
Like, in general, just the area in general against, like gangster movies, for example.
Interesting.
British gangster movies are very different from American gangster
Absolutely.
movies. And then you've got sports movies over there that very different from the sports movies we have over here, because a lot of the sports movies over there are related to football, soccer, whatever you want to call it. And over here, a lot of it is related to the American football. And, there's a lot of contrast to the way some of these films are made. And I would love to have somebody over there who knows about those kinds of films compared to someone over here who, I've never made a movie, but it'd be great to have some back and forth on some of those movies and have an episode on that.
It's funny because the screenplay I'm working on just now is a cop buddy movie, right? Scottish. Now, I don't think there's ever been a Scottish cop buddy movie. I can't think of one. So I've been looking at the American cop buddy movies a lot recently just to get the form of them. And it's going to be quite an interesting contrast, I suppose. Because I'm going to do it the Scottish way. And I don't think that's been done before in a cop buddy movie. But cop buddy movies are not as popular as they once were.
If you have a dog in it, I think if people put dogs in movies, it changes the outlook.
Hang on a second. Okay, dog is in the film.
Dog is in the film. Okay. So that changes things greatly, It's like, I forget the name of it. Turner and Hooch, I think, is the one with Tom Hanks and his dog.
It is, yeah.
There's another one with Chuck Norris and a dog. I think it's just called Canine or something. When you put cops with dogs, it's just like there's a comfortable cop buddy movie.
Yeah.
It's just because everyone loves dogs.
Well, it's funny. It's funny because you've just reminded me of things that were too much for the film, right? In the original script for when the guy gets dragged down the road, it was a little bit different because he was walking his dog and the dog was sniffing around the van and the dog got caught up and pulled the guy with him. And we realized we couldn't kill a dog. And you can kill as many humans as you want. But if we killed a little dog, I think people would have got really upset with us.
Actually, yes. there's even a website, Does the Dog Die? And they report on movies where if there's an animal injured in the movie.
Okay.
I've talked to lots of people and they say, yeah, you can kill all the people you want, but don't hurt dogs or other harmless animals. Yeah. So I think if you did put that dog scene in there, it would make it a little more tough to watch that scene.
I think so too.
So I think it was a good choice getting the dog out of there.
In the sand, right? It's the dog line.
Yeah. The line in the sand for me is animals. Yeah. People, do whatever you want. Animals it's where it's like, all right, some of this is a little too much even for me. So
actors I can kill, dogs not.
Yes, exactly. Because I don't know why it just seems too real when it's an animal compared to when it's a human.
No, in a comedy, the last thing you want to do is actually upset people, So I don't think anyone's really been upset with one-day removals, but I think the dog probably would have just pushed them over the edge.
I can almost guarantee you'd get more mail about the dog than you would about the movie itself. You get, why did the dog have to die, or why did you do?
Yeah,
you get more hate mail about the dog than anything else.
Absolutely,
which isn't something you would want. So it's great having you on here. I appreciate your time taken out and talking to me, and I'd love to have you on again for another subject and just pick your brain and see what we can get.
Yeah, it'd be excellent. It's been a pleasure.
Well, thank you very much for being on here, and I'll keep in touch. I guarantee.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. Take care.
All right, thank you. I'll see you. Bye. And that was One Day Removals, a film that proves sometimes all you need for a great story is two guys, one van, and an absolutely irresponsible amount of swearing. If you've seen the film, let us know. Did the language make it funnier, more real, or just completely out of control? And if you haven't seen it yet, maybe don't watch it with your mom. Or do. We're not here to judge. Until next time, watch your language. Actually, don't.
MovieFwords.com